Want me to clap and you can give the intro?
Sure thing.
All right. We always clap. I don't know why.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Toon'd with Jim Cummings. Today we are joined by none other than Jeff Bergman. Thank you so much. You know him as the voice of Bugs Bunny all your life. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for being here, pal.
My God, thank you for having me. This
good
is an
stuff.
honor, my God.
Oh, my gosh. Well, this is good stuff. This is good stuff in your natural habitat.
Yes,
In front of
it's true.
a microphone.
3 inches.
Yes, there we go. Okay. Good night, everybody. That was
That's all, folks.
yeah. Now, see, look at that. See, it's got to be great for you to carry on the legacy of the great Mel Blanc. I mean, I have this much of it, but you've got, yeah. I mean, and then we haven't even gone to Bedrock yet. So, should we run down? Can you give? You know what? Give us a medley of your greatest guys. Prepare. I hope. Strap in. This is good stuff.
Well, it's true, Doc. I'm a rabbit, all right. Oh, I think I should have taken that left turn, Doc, at Albuquerque. Well, always a bridesmaid, never a bride, Daffy Duck.
Sylvester, Flipper, and Succotash, I'm not gonna hurt you, you little yellow bird. I'm just gonna eat you.
Ooh, I thought I tore a booty tad. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Hey, I'm Yogi Bear.
Oh, Yogi, if I were you, I wouldn't touch that picnic basket.
Yogi, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble.
I'm exhausted. Okay, we're done. That's amazing. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. I know you're out there. I know you're clapping. Give this guy, that is dos mucho.
Now, Jim, I'm
What a
thinking
great
about the
legacy.
first time
What a great.
we worked together, and it was on a Fruity Pebbles spot.
Oh.
But I don't even think you might even know. You've done so much work in your body of work.
Fruity Pebbles,
I was
yeah.
doing Barney, and you did the Santa Claus for the
Yes,
Christmas spot.
I remember it,
And
yeah.
people have come and said, "Who did Santa for that?" I said, "That is Jim Cummings,
Oh,
man."
jeez. I remember it.
Beautiful.
I surely
Yeah,
do.
It was
yes.
like
I
heartwarming
want to say it
Santa.
was at Buzzies or Waves.
Yes.
One of those old school recording studios. Yeah. Well, happy. Oh, that sounded like Reagan. Sorry. Ho, ho, ho. That's my Santa. Yeah. I always, all my Santa Claus, whenever I've done that, they come off a little like Ed McMahon, which I think is just fine. You know.
And now, here's Johnny.
Here's Santa. Yeah.
Well,
good stuff.
sometimes they do blend together, the voices, right? Don't
Yeah.
you feel that?
man.
I mean,
yeah, they sure do.
some I can't keep straight in my head.
Yeah. Well, you've got enough in there. You've got a lot of occupants
Yes.
behind that forehead, right?
There's a lot of people inside of me.
Yeah. Well, I always tell people it's stuff used to get me kicked out of class, and
Yeah.
now
yeah.
it seemed to have worked out, right?
Well, I mean, I used to get in trouble like we all probably did, but I had one voice that wasn't a voice and no one knew, and it was the heartbeat,
Oh, I did that one too.
right? I mean, how do
Wow.
you explain how to do that?
That's crazy. I
don't
can't
know
believe
how
you
to do
did that too.
See.
Wow,
You
I
do
really
that
did.
too?
Because and then the trick is right while you're doing it. Then you look around. Then the kid behind you gets in trouble. He's getting whacked and you're laughing. Success. Anytime you can barf it off on whoever is behind you, and then Sister Mary Excruciata comes over with and whacks the kid with the ruler. He was being, anyway. So
Yeah, I went to
after
Sunday
that,
school. I didn't go to
wasn't
Catholic school, so
Yeah.
they probably tougher on you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's subsided, so I made it through, and now I get to hang out with you and have all this good fun.
This is great.
And we're here at another world famous convention, and I just love going to these things because, I get to hang out with folks like you, and we get to meet a lot of people out there, right?
It's amazing. I mean, the
Yeah.
fans. This is only my second one that I've ever done.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've never done a fan expo before. So I mean, people are emotional about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see people come up to you.
Oh, they do, yeah,
and
they are.
like some of them are like in tears. I mean,
I
it's
know.
incredible.
It's very sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very sweet. And it's very touching, and it's nice to know that you're doing something that can be meaningful to people, because I've said it before, we're in these recording studios, and most of the time we're alone.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So you don't know, you trust them, they're going to do something with it, and it'll come out meaningful in the end. And when people come up to you at these conventions and say, oh, well, the one about the little bird, when you saved the bird and Winnie the Pooh went Kessie, and it made my whole day, and I once found a pigeon. It was, and it's like, oh, you too, huh? And there's these little bonds, and it's so rewarding.
Sweet.
It really is. It really, really is.
Now, when you do, I'm curious, when you do a legacy character like Tigger and Pooh, is it so natural for you that you warm into it so quickly? I mean, I feel like I have to know that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's natural, but what I would do just coming up as a kid, I've told this before, but we'll be playing Monopoly, and Pooh would say, I think that I shall buy Park Place. And Tigger would say, I'm going to get this railroad over there. And I wasn't thinking of it at the time, because who thinks you're going to grow up and be Winnie the Pooh? At the time, there was one.
That's an incredible story, that you got the ones that you didn't think you were going to get.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's true. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and then when I did grow up and Winnie the Pooh came back, it was like 20 years later, I thought I was making a good Eeyore. I've said this before, and I didn't get Eeyore, but I struggled through with Pooh and Tigger, and I'm sure you're the same, right?
Well,
You wanted Taz, but
Stay away from Taz.
no,
buddy.
Taz is. I don't know how you do that.
I don't either. I'm not going to start thinking about it. I'll lose it.
Yeah, because I would burp when I would do that voice.
Oh.
I would burp, and they would say, no, we can't have that. You got to do another take. You can't burp while you're doing it. But I grew up with Jack Benny, the Jack Benny program.
Yeah, me too.
And when you said that, that's where you saw Mel.
Mel Blanc.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I couldn't make the distinction. Wait a minute, that's the guy that does Bugs Bunny? I was so little when my dad, the Jack Benny program, he said, that's the guy that does Bugs Bunny. That's him.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how come he's not
Bugs,
doing the
Daffy,
voice?
Sylvester.
Yeah.
And I never met him.
You never met him?
But I almost did. And oh gosh, I don't think I've told the story. So I'm going to tell the story. It's kind of cool. I worked at a video store in Anaheim Hills, Video Depot. And that was my entry into showbiz. But it was way back in the day, in the 80s, early 80s, mid 80s. And a fella came in, and his name was Ralph Russo, and he was his talent agent, and he would book clown acts for parties. He would book the people who show up and do balloon ties for this and that. And he was my big showbiz connection. And apparently he had a office down the hall from Mel Blanc on Sunset Boulevard. And I made a demo tape, and I said, gosh, wait, Mel Blanc? You're kidding me. And he goes, yeah, and I said, well, can you play this tape for him? Can you give him his tape? Because I made a demo tape. That's what you do when you first start out. You make a demo, and hopefully you don't suck, and you do all these characters, and some you make up, and I wrote my whole thing, and I said, boy, if you could just, get a critique or whatever. And so he said, sure, I'll give it a try. So he was there, and he saw Mel coming down the hall, and he goes, hey, Mel, you got a minute? And he says, yeah, kid, what's up? You can do it. And he said, well, I got a kid here, got his tape. He says he wants to be you. And he goes, does he? Well, I've never heard that before. All right, play his tape. So he puts my tape on and hits play. And Mel, and this is the way he described it. He said he stood there, and he looked back like this, and then he went, and he smiled for 2 minutes. And then and at the end of it, he goes, tell the kid he's got it. And he left the room.
Wow.
So I went, yes. It gives me goose. I can't believe I still goosebump at that story. Wow. But yeah, I guess I do. So that was my big meeting that I didn't have with Mel Blanc.
That is so special to know that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Did you do impersonations on that?
Yeah.
You did some?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it was like Elliot Ness, or, Robert Stack on The Untouchables, and Desi Arnaz, Lucy and Desi. So
See, because I met him in
Lucid
college.
Ricky.
He was doing a performance lecture in college, and I found out he was staying at a motel on campus. And so
boy.
I knocked on his door at 10 o'clock at night.
Cool.
And I went, just a jiffy. And I went, oh, God, that voice. I know that voice.
Yeah, yeah.
God. And then he opens the door, and he's in a cordovan bathrobe. And I said, Mr. Blank, I'm not going to hurt you.
It wasn't Hugh Hefner.
That was not Hugh Hefner, no.
Oh, okay.
But he had gold chains and bracelets.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, I saw your lecture at Pitt. I said, you're amazing. Can I just have 3 minutes with you? And he said, are you Jewish or Italian? And I like, well, what's going to get me in? I said, Jewish. He said, all right, come on in. So we sat down for maybe 45 minutes and talked. And I did voices for him because he asked me, not because I was being pushy.
Yeah, right.
And so I did like George Burns, and I did Jack Benny, and I did. And he says, those are great, but do your own voices, create your own voice. Of course, I didn't listen to it.
Yeah. Well, his will do for now, I would think, right?
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
But when you meet somebody like that, I mean, he's the godfather of voiceover animation.
Sure.
I don't even I couldn't process it at the time. And it was only maybe a few months after that I started to work on the voices. Very different than Bob Bergen, who just, he was so laser focused, wanted to do Porky.
Yes.
You know that story.
Oh, yeah.
And I never thought about doing animated voices. It never occurred to me.
Wow, you've changed that. Thank
Yeah, I mean,
goodness.
that was the watershed moment. That changed the whole trajectory of everything for me.
Sure.
It was as though I was possessed to do those characters. And I couldn't stop myself.
Well, we're all glad you did. This seems to be working out.
Yes. It's like I had no choice. I didn't know why I was doing it.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good way to put it. I had no choice. Because I don't think I did either. I mean,
right?
I tried a lot of other things, and I was not good at a lot of other things. And so I said, well, I can do that. And again, I go back to my dad. He goes, yeah, I know, but what are you going to do for a living? Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. Fine. Now, and you're going to make a living how? And I said, no, I'm really going to do that. And he goes, Jesus Christ. Okay, and at the time I was working in a steel mill, so I kind of get it.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah, I wasn't there for long. It was like in Youngstown, 6 months on, 6 months you're laid off. So,
Oh my God.
It might as well have been the Army.
I went to school in Titusville, Pennsylvania. I mean, that's it's close to. Well, no, that's close to Youngsville, I think. There's
Youngsville, yeah.
and Youngstown, yeah.
Youngstown,
So
we're the really good one. Youngstown.
That's
It's a great place
incredible.
to be from.
See, I thought you were a drummer.
I am.
You okay? Because
I
you would
am.
come to the sessions.
I've
with
got them right over
drumsticks.
here, or wherever. No, I think Peggy has them now. But I am. I do. I annoy people at sessions.
Well, I
left,
used to
right,
get a
center.
kick out of it when I would see you with it because I started out on the drums as a kid.
Oh, yeah?
And I loved my teacher so much that when he would come to give me lessons, I would say, "You play." Let me see.
Yeah.
And my father would say, "What can you do? Can you do anything?" And I would say, "I'm working on it.
I can watch
on
this
it."
guy.
I never got good at it.
Yeah. Well, I love drums. I've always had a set of drums up, and if not, I'll have some congas and bongos and something that makes noise.
But see, that's so rhythmic, and that's all part of, right? It's
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
And I think the best impressionists are people who do impressions of people, pick up on the rhythm of and the musicality.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. I've always thought of it as sort of a jazzy thing. Whenever you're doing an impression of somebody.
Yeah. Oh, completely. I never got good at the drums, but scatting for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There was something wait, was I like somebody else in another lifetime? Because I'm so attracted to that sound.
Yeah. Well, I've often thought of it that, like, for instance, take just a bag. Wait a minute, you kids can't get me in here. Get out of here. Yeah. That's ba-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-da.
Yeah.
And if you have that in your head, I think it's a little edge.
I think so too. Yeah, like George Benson, you would watch him play guitar, and as he was playing, you go.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one.
We go with it, and very cool.
How's he doing that? That was pretty. That was innovative too.
Yeah,
I bet he did good at voiceover. I don't know.
Did you ever do rapping and that kind of thing? You never did rapping?
Well, for Fruit Loops, I did. I was the rapping rhino. My name is DJ Rhino. I've been looking left and right for a cereal that won't bore me, but there isn't one in sight. And Maurice goes, a rapping rhino? So I was...
That's what we had to do for Pebbles. That's
Yeah.
got to be the 90s, right? Because
Yeah.
there was all the rap.
Yeah,
You had to do that as Barney. Yeah.
The rapping rhino. Oh, don't
Trained
try that
singer,
at home.
and you were doing rapping.
Yeah. Sure. Why not?
Amazing.
Paid the bill that day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know how that was. Right?
We do.
And now, did you have a ton of crazy jobs working up to this one?
Like prior to doing Bugs?
Sure,
and things?
yeah.
Well, I was in New York for many years. I've only been here 16 years in LA. So I spent 16, 18 years in New York and doing a lot of advertising. So I think Bob Caliban, Steve Rowland, Peter Thomas, those were all the announcers that I worked with. But then it was, I don't know, I got to be like around 2000 and I said, I want to do animation, and nobody was doing it in New York.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
People said, because it was very
Yeah, you go
territorial.
there for commercial work, right?
Yeah, I did commercials. I was the voice of Punchy.
Hey, how about a nice Hawaiian punch? Fruit
Oh, that
juicy.
guy.
There's 7 kinds of fruit in Hawaiian punch. 7 kinds of fruit in Hawaiian punch.
Yeah, so I mean,
And they are?
red, green, yellow, blue, and orange, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but there was no animation. You had to go to California, and they would not even accept New York auditions. So it was.
didn't
So I was
know
like,
that.
all right, I'm just going to move out there, and then it was tough. In 2008, we had the stock market crash, and then 2009 they started auditioning for a Looney Tunes show. And that was the start of it for me.
That's great.
To get back
Who
into
who
it,
was
yeah.
your first Warner Brothers character?
Well, I first started to
that you
do
landed
Mel's voice, because if you do Mel, you probably could do other
branch
voices
out.
too as well.
That's great. Yeah.
So-
that's really good. That sounded like Mel Blanc, y'all. Just in case you didn't know, and you do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bugs, because like if you do Bugs, then you can kind of work to Porky and Tweety. I mean, they're different souls, kind of, I mean, it was really tricky with Daffy, because Daffy was sped up. Mel did it, and I think they sped him up. Like Noel said, they sped him up 15, 20%.
Yeah, I think they did. I know they did.
And they don't do that,
Because
Jen,
otherwise,
today.
it turns out that it gets into
Sylvester, right.
range.
So today, it's like if you're working with a director, they are referencing something they've seen on YouTube, and they want you to sound like that, but it's sped up.
Yeah,
and
it's
they
sped up,
use the
right.
two mics, and so it just sounded very different. And they recorded Mel on the Foley stage a lot, so they had that thunderous sound.
Yes.
And we've
Yeah.
got to replicate that.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you watch those old cartoons, because we're so used to like this room is padded,
Yeah.
or as are all of the recording studios. But boy, when you see those old Looney Tunes and Bugs is yelling, you can hear the whole mezzanine.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
hear. They might as well be in a marble, a glass house or something, because you can hear it.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't do that. They would never let that happen nowadays.
No, in
but
fact-
it doesn't bother me.
No, I mean, the older recordings that I did in the 90s, they actually sound better because it's analog recording opposed to digital.
Yeah.
And I find it really hard on the ears to hear digital recording. It's brittle, the sound.
Yeah, I think so. It's a little flatter. It doesn't have as much gland.
Yeah, it doesn't have personality to it.
Technical term there for you, but yeah.
Very technical.
Highly technical.
folks.
It is.
For those audio people out
Needs
there.
more gland. Okay. So you're on the road finally into this crazy Comic-Con circuit.
Oh, my God. I don't know how you do this. Whoa.
Oh, I do it very well.
It's, yeah, I guess you do. I mean, the suitcase is going to stay open because I'm in Telford. Yes, for everyone out there, I'll be in Telford at the Midlands Comic-Con into England next week. Yes, or this week, I should say.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's going to be like, but hopefully
It'll be great.
Yeah, I hope
It'll
so.
be very
I hope
fun.
so.
Very good.
Yeah,
Get some fish and chips. Right?
absolutely.
We got a few places we can recommend. Wait, Midlands?
Midlands,
I
yeah.
don't think I've ever been there.
Telford, yeah. It's like 3 hours from London, I think.
Okay.
North.
Try the bangers.
The bangers and mash.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And
but I
mashed
think
peas.
I think those are hot dogs of some sort. Or
sausage.
sausage.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes, do
Sausage.
that. Oof. Yeah, have more. Have one on me. Well, that sounds like fun, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Meet
That's
all the
great.
people out there.
Yeah, getting your feet wet in this. It's a fun gig, these Comic-Cons.
They're amazing. I mean, I just see you and Frank. I mean, he was exhausted
Talking
last
about Frank
night.
Welker,
Yes, Frank Welker.
in case you didn't know. We're going to work on getting him on this podcast, too, one of these days. Now I'll tell him that you recommended him.
I will. Frank, you have to do the podcast.
Okay, it's done now. Thank you. Well, hey, man, I don't want to keep you all day because I kind of could.
Oh.
But we have work to do. We're at a convention, and your lovely wife is
Oh, thank
yes,
you.
Get him
Well,
out of here.
Jim, if we do this again, let's talk about Hanna Barbera next time, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
Well, we can sneak something in now.
All right.
Yeah?
Yes. Quick story. Let's see. The Jetsons, the movie. Mel Blanc had passed away, and who was Mr. Spacely, and George O'Hanlon, who was George Jetson, he had passed away.
Oh, yes.
And so they're holding auditions. Amazingly, I got to do both George and Spacely for the film, and Mel and George O'Hanlon hadn't finished the film. And so, who do you think was directing me at Hanna Barbera? I mean, you worked with these people.
Would have to be Gordon?
Gordon,
Or
right? You would think, or Joe
Chris.
Barbera, right? Or Chris,
Oh.
right? No, it was Bill Hanna that day,
Oh.
and I was
As in half of Hanna-Barbera.
yes, and he was sitting in the front, and he said, "I'm doing it again. Doesn't sound like George to me." And that went on for about 3 hours. And that was maybe one of my scariest sessions.
I would think so.
If I get through this, it'll be okay. Yeah.
You know, I sang I didn't get the job as George Jetson, but they decided I sounded like him when I sang.
Oh, my
So I
God.
sang a song, "The Brotherhood of Man."
Oh.
Brotherhood of I can't remember, a long time ago. But yeah, I sang a theme song for that. I
Oh
think.
my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, I can't believe. I don't think they used it. It might have stunk up the room.
But you
for
know,
all I
though, but it makes sense because Henry Corden, who I got to be very close with, Henry did all of Alan Reed's singing because Alan, as you know, was the original Fred Flintstone.
Sure.
He had a tin ear. He couldn't sing,
Oh,
apparently.
boy.
So Henry was a great singer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I worked with him
That is so
when he
cool.
did Fred Flintstone for Fruity Pebbles to my Barney Rubble. We had to sing all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you know Hal Smith?
I didn't, but I wanted to meet him. So, oh my
Yeah.
God, he's so special.
He was Otis Campbell on,
Yes.
on the Andy Griffith Show, and then he did a lot for Hanna Barbera. And I think was I don't think he was Boo Boo, but I think he was Barney for a year or two.
You're
Is that-
right. He was the original first Barney. You're right.
Yeah.
And then somebody was, I don't know if somebody else was Fred. Maybe, and it might have been Alan that was originally Fred, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Hal Smith, what a sweet.
Sweet guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in Winnie the Pooh, and he was in the first show I ever did was Dumbo's Circus, and he played Fair Dinkum, the Australian koala bear, and that's how I got to meet him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. My younger brother came and brought one of his friends. My brother Terry came and brought his friend Dave to the session, and of course they got to meet Hal, and I was just proud as punch that he knew my name and everything else. And I'll never forget my brother's friend Dave said, "You know, I don't want to offend you. The last thing I want to do is offend you. You seem like some nice old dude, but you know you remind me of the drunk on Andy Griffith, man." And he goes, "Oh, that's as I am." And he just melted into the floor. And I said, "I'm really sorry about that. He's from Youngstown too, you know." And so that was my sad little story.
Oh, did you meet Sterling Holloway?
No, I never did. I almost have a story about that.
Oh,
But no, I never did. My friend Tony, he was in there at a studio called Waves, and my friend Tony was the engineer there, and he had his video camera with him back then, and he said, "Hello out there" to me, and that was it.
so cool.
I'll never forget eons before I was in the business. I was there, and I was in a little cafe down in Laguna Niguel, and you hear this little voice come up from side booth. You couldn't see who was in there. Waitress walks up and says, "Are we ready to order yet?" And he said, "I believe I shall have the chowder." and I went,
Oh my.
you know, Winnie the Pooh. So I was very stealthy, and I got up and I got some salt and pepper off the one table, and I looked over, and there was Sterling Holloway sitting there with his cool self. And he looked like an albino crow. He had all this white hair going up all over creation.
Yeah, he had the
And he was sitting
great
there.
spiked hair.
And I didn't say a word to him.
Oh my God!
I didn't. You know, I was
God.
like, what do you do? Walk up and go.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what it would have felt. It kind of felt like that. You're really cool and everything. And I remembered seeing him in a couple of TV shows back in the day too. He was on Superman, the George Reeves Superman, and
Yes.
he was a
professor or
professor
an
who
inventor.
invented,
Yeah.
something, and he threw a regular
my
ball on the
God.
floor and it broke, and it was
Yeah.
so a mad professor. Why they picked him, I'll never know. He was perfect.
He wasn't, but he was that guy. That's
Yeah, he was that
yeah.
guy. Oh my gosh, that's right. Good old Hanna Barbera days, right?
Yep. I miss it. I do.
Yeah, and that building's not even there anymore, folks. It should have been on the
3400
National
Coenga.
Monument. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, that's where we did the Jetsons. And I remember walking in thinking, oh my God, it's going to be like Disneyland. And it was actually very underwhelming,
Yeah,
right? It
just some big old place.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, with padded walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we did SWAT cats there, and
Oh, you did?
any number
Oh.
of some of the Scoobies, the originals.
Oh,
Scooby-Doo's.
wow. The
Did a
original ones.
couple of ancillary characters in there, you know, so that was fun.
Now, did you ever get to work with anybody where you're watching them and you get lost in a scene? They tell you never to do that.
Oh,
You know, like for 1 second, I was watching you in an episode, I believe it was New Looney Tunes show, and you were doing Jacques
Black.
and I was looking
Oh,
at
right. Yeah,
I was
the
looking at you.
Canadian lumberjack.
Yeah, and I almost missed my cue, and I'm like, Jeff, you don't do that.
Yeah, oh,
don't get lost in somebody else's performance. You got to be ready.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm glad I was distracting. I've been very distracted my entire life, and I'm glad to know I've still got it.
You have it. You do,
Yeah,
Jim.
but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
a neat character.
He's one of my favorite characters. I forget about him. He's not that big, but maybe I'll include him in my montage. Or
You should, because that was a great character.
Oh.
And you kind of, I think, expanded it.
Overdid it.
Yes, yeah. No, but you have
I've been
to.
known to do that.
It's great.
Take it and stretch it too far. I was told that, and by the great Rita Moreno, who said, "Don't be a name dropper," but she said, "I love doing this. I love doing." She did a bunch of Bonkers episodes, and she played a character. She goes, "You can't overact. I've been overacting my whole life. They've been telling me to calm down, easy, calm down. You know this and that. So I'm pulling it back, and you can't overact here." And I said, "That's true." She goes, "I love this," and she was like all over it. And then she did as much as she could. She goes, "Can you give us a little more?" No, I'm kidding. But that was great.
That's great advice. And
great.
she's right, too.
Yeah,
She's totally right. More is better. Can always pull you back.
they can always pull you back, but it's hard to add on if you ain't got it. Yeah, it's so true. Gosh,
We got to do
we gotta-
the old game. Ooh. You know what time it is.
that's true. We do a voice swap thing.
Okay.
And you do one of your characters with a line, and then I have to do it as, say, Winnie the Pooh or Darkwing.
Oh, my God. That's
So
insane.
and then I'll do one of my characters, Winnie the Pooh, Darkwing. Then you have to do it in one of your characters.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, my
So-
God. Okay.
Are you ready to go?
Okay. I'm ready.
Alrighty. And you get to pick which character. But this will be Darkwing Duck. I am the terror that flaps in the night.
I am the terror that flaps in the night.
That was pretty good. You sound just like yourself. That's awesome. Okay, now give me one of your characters, maybe another one, and then I have to do it as maybe Pooh. How's that?
Oh, you carn-sarn Indian varmint!
Okay. No, you carn-sarn engine varmint. What kind of mint is a varmint?
So sweet.
Don't try that at home. I forget, was I supposed to be Tigger or Pooh? Too late. Too late. I've sullied the whole thing. Well, thanks, man. I think we're good. That's pretty darn cool.
Let's do one
Jim,
more.
this
Let's
is
do one more
awesome.
back and forth.
One more.
we're doing
back
one
and
more.
forth?
Okay,
Let's do.
all right,
Okay.
all right.
Your choice. Dealer's choice.
Okay, let's do.
And now I say nice girl, but she reminds me of the highway between Fort Worth and Dallas. No curves.
Ooh. Now who should do that? Well, how about Tigger?
How about Hondo?
Well, Hondo. Oh, okay. Okay, Hondo Onaga from Star Wars. This will be perfect. Nice, I say nice. Nice girl, I say. But she reminds me of the highway between Fort Worth and Dallas. Straight with no curves. It was like Foghorn was in the room, I say. I say.
Folks, you're never going to hear this anywhere else. Okay.
No, you can't get this.
How about we do Tigger and Bugs?
okay.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Well, the wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things.
Wow, that's really amazing, Tigger. Now, do you think that Disney is okay with us being this close in proximity?
It's too late. Roger Rabbit's come and gone, so we're safe.
The wonderful thing about Tigger is Tigger's a wonderful thing.
There we go. Oh, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Jeff Bergman,
Thank you,
ladies and
Jim.
gentlemen.
Great. That was
And
great.
the crowd went mild. Take us home, Chris.
All right, thank you so much for watching. That was another episode of Tuned In with Jim Cummings. Today we were joined by Jeff Bergman. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on YouTube. And of course, you can find bonus content on Patreon. Thank you to all our subscribers there. And we are closing in on 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. So be sure to join us on our journey, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Oh, my God.
Yay.